to? Captain Mike Edwards with the Seattle Police Department. We appreciate you being here to talk about this. Just so our viewers know, what role do you play in this conversation? What do you do for SPD?
You bet. I'm the High-Risk Victims Section Commander, so I'm in charge of internet crimes against children, vice, and human trafficking.
So SPD goes about 7 years with an approach to sex work, treating the women who are doing this kind of work as the victims and really going after the demand, so the Johns, and also pimps, anyone who's trying to force these women or exploit them in some way. Why now the shift to include the sex workers in arrests?
Yeah, let me be real clear. We're not changing anything from our standard operating protocols. So we are still victim-centered, trauma-informed is our approach. The difference is that we've had some unique circumstances that have occurred recently. First one is we had a very large influx of women and suspected pimps that came into the Seattle area. Individuals we didn't know. We had no ID on them. We didn't know who they were.
Why?
So why? I think the main reason is with Backpage shutting down and the explosion then of away from internet-based services now to more on-the-street services. Seattle's always had a history of being on the track. This was just now, we're seeing that appearance, grow more. And I think it was simply because they were moving the women from Southern California predominantly, as we were able to determine, up to this area. So the first stage of that was really to find out who these individuals were. To do that and to make certain that we're doing it in the best and most informed way possible, we changed our strategy to going with bookings, but still utilizing the diversion services.
Yeah, because even though you guys have all these bookings, the vast majority of these arrests are not ultimately being charged. I mean, there was like a handful of charges. So I guess some would ask, so it sounds like you want to identify these individuals, which you can do by arresting. But in the Crosscut article, it also suggested that you were doing it just to get them out of the area for a couple weeks. Is that true?
Yeah, that's very true.
Okay.
No, absolutely. Because the other thing that happened is that the services became overwhelmed. So not just because of the activities up on Aurora, but simply by providing lead in particular, but other service providers out there. Their ability and capacity is finite, and so the numbers simply overwhelmed them, and so now we didn't have those service options available to us either. The important thing is we know what that environment is like. That environment is not healthy. It's dangerous. We can't ignore it. It would be inappropriate for us to do so, and even for the the women in particular. So we had a targeted strategy. We discussed it at all levels in the department, and it was agreed that we were going to make certain, at the very least, to do some caretaking, and even if that meant our only resolve on that was to book individuals. So we started booking. So
speaking of at all levels of the department, one of your superiors, the Deputy Chief of Police, Mark Garth Green, was at a city council meeting. The Crosscut article is brought up to him. I'm going to play an edited exchange of what happened. It wasn't pretty, but I edited it for length, but you're going to get the gist of it. I'm sure you've already seen this, but for our viewers, go ahead.
Some of them choose to do what they're doing.
I have never been so shocked by such an assertion.
And I appreciate that, Madam Councilwoman. And that comes from my experience of actually working the street up there and talking to a young lady who specifically told me that she was there to make money and enjoyed it. But beyond that, and I still believe that that young lady had
this
some
is just not
had
acceptable that you're speaking this way. Did you just say that they're enjoying it? I mean,
that's her words, not mine.
Captain, are there women out there from your experience who are either choosing this lifestyle or, as he said at the end, enjoy this lifestyle?
No, I think it's important to understand, do we hear that? Are those comments made to us? Absolutely. Those are made to us. Do we believe them based on the experience and knowledge of what's going on, the coercive nature that, especially with pimps being involved? No, it's unfortunate that you need a lot of time to really explain this to folks to really understand what goes on out on the street in particular. So no, but yes, absolutely, we have heard it. We will undoubtedly hear it again, where we're now trying to, in particular, trying to get these girls out of that lifestyle, move them into something else where they can now benefit from. But they have been very coerced. There's a lot of psychological impact that has happened to them, And so they will make those types of comments. Not overwhelmingly, but we have heard them on occasion.
So what do you want to happen from here? The story was done. It's brought issue to the fact that more of these women are being arrested. Now we know that the services are kind of at capacity, which is a challenge. So what do you hope comes of this?
Well, hopefully what comes of this is a better dialogue. I mean, the community has been suffering out in that area. These women have been suffering as well. And our strategy is very agile. We'll make adjustments. We'll move, accordingly and into whatever makes the best impact for all of the participants involved. So the folks that live and work in that area, as well as these women. Ultimately, our goal is the pimps. I mean, that's really, our strategy is based around locating, identifying, arresting, and then getting them to the prosecutor's office for charges and hopefully incarceration. So we're not going to change on that, and that really is our ultimate goal.
So quickly for these women, because we talk about this like related, and obviously we're talking a lot of separate issues here, but related to homeless individuals or individuals who are having substance abuse issues. There's a discussion about whether some of those people don't want help if they're offered it, if they're homeless or if they're drug addicted. When you've encountered these women who are working as sex workers, would you say that they often will take the assistance if it's given to them or not, or is it a combination? What overwhelmingly is the reality when they are offered an option to be able to get out?
So it truly is a combination. We will see large numbers who will accept, and I'll put air quotes around that, services to avoid law enforcement involvement. Then we'll see them again. I mean, we have repeat offenders, as it were. But others actually do take those services right away, are very sincere about it, and it does make a difference. So it really, we're a piece of the solution. We are not the sole part of the solution. So we work very closely with our other partners. We work very closely with other law enforcement agencies in the area, and we're always looking to find new strategies that will resolve in a positive way.
So for the women who are part of that segment, who are declining the services that you offer, what do you think is the appropriate response to them?
Well, I think the appropriate response to them is that we continue offering those services, and we do. We do that at the very first contact point with my detectives. We bring our big advocate out as well. We do follow-up. We understand that, even to build a case, we need to have these women there because they need to be able to provide us not only information, but also be able to give us what we need to put that case together. So it really is in our best interest, and we recognize this, to do as much as we can for them. And that's what we want to do. So we do try that.
All right, Captain Mike Edwards with the Seattle Police Department. I know you guys are out there doing tough work. These situations are complicated. So we appreciate you coming in and explaining some of what has resulted from this article we saw in Crosscut.
You bet. Thank you.
Thank you.